This is Douglas Noble, and I'm here this morning in Kansas City interviewing Bill Bua, current treasurer of the NABWMT, on behalf of the NABWMT Oral History Project. Good morning.
Hi, Doug. How are you?
I'm fine. Well, when did you first get involved with BWMT?
Probably as I was breaking up with my Caucasian lover, 17 years, in the late 90s. Actually, while he and I were together, we knew a lot of people that were in BWMT Baltimore. That's where we lived. And there's a lot of cross-pollination among organizations in Baltimore, because it's not that big a place. And I've always, back when I was in college, when I first came out, I'd always had some interest in men of color. And I actually dated someone who probably would have been really wonderful. And I just could not get my head around the idea of being with someone of another race at the time. And when this long-term relationship fell apart, I thought I needed to pursue that. And I actually got involved more in the DC chapter. They seemed to have more people in it, more people that I liked, and they had more social activities at the time. I think the Baltimore chapter was having all kinds of problems in the late 90s.
Had you known about the group for some time, or how did you hear about it?
I had known about it actually through a couple that we knew. Specifically, when I was with my Caucasian partner. Their names were Bob Davis and Bob Clark and Jay Davis. And I knew about it through them. We just knew it existed. They'd have some functions at their home, and there'd actually be some people from that group. So, anyway, that's how I knew about it.
What was your first involvement with the DC chapter?
I just would go to events, and actually, I don't think I was on their steering committee at all at the point where I wanted to get involved in a national organization. No, I just was kind of hanging out with them more than anything else.
Let me go back. Do you actually remember the very first event you went to, and what, if any, reaction you had?
I went to a potluck at DC. They're fabulous potlucks. They're great for that. They're quite social. I went to a potluck. I don't know if I really talked to anybody. Strangely enough, although people may not think this, I'm really shy by nature, and it took me several events down there to really start to get to know people down there. The first one I went to and what I thought of it, is that what you have?
Well, if you do. If you have a specific recollection.
I remember thinking, this looks like a nice bunch of people, and I'll come back. And I know the reason I'm not talking to too many people right now is because I'm shy, and it's going to take me a while. So,
do you remember any people in particular that you knew early on?
Ted Mann. He's a good guy. He tries to make people feel welcome. He's one of the older fellows in the group. He's been involved for a very long time, since the mid-'80s, I think, almost from the beginning of the chapter. A few other people. There's a guy who isn't there anymore. I don't remember his name, but he was very nice and helpful with getting to know people. So it worked out. It just took me a while, but I think they're a very good group for what they do.
They're primarily social?
They're primarily social. I think you need to have that even in a political organization to keep everyone's batteries charged.
Has the DC chapter specifically disavowed politics, or does it just work out that way?
It kind of works out that way. There are some people that are interested in that, and more recently there's been a somewhat more interest in it, at least in talking about it. I think they're more introspective in some ways. It's a very conservative group in some respects. I would say it's conservative sexually and perhaps even politically, relative to some other groups, say New York. much more conservative than New York, I'm sure.
Do you think that has anything to do with the fact that it is in D.C., it's the seat of government?
Might be, maybe George Bush is rubbing off on him, I don't know. It may well be. I think D.C.'s been getting more conservative as far as the national level for years. That's just reflecting the national political situation. Locally, it's quite liberal. D.C. is a very liberal city. But it's hard to say, but I would guess that it might also be the class structure of that particular group. It's mostly middle to upper middle class folks, and that may do something as far as politics go. I'm just talking off the top of my head right now.
Sure.
But
Is most of the membership from the district, or is a lot of it outlying areas?
the district, suburban, a lot of it northern Virginia. Not that many Marylanders. And a lot of district people.
Well, what type of involvement did you have with the local chapter?
After I got on the national board, actually, you got onto the steering committee. And basically functioned as just a member of it with not any specific, I didn't have a specific portfolio per se. Someone called me I was like the realist in the group, and I actually acted also as a liaison from the national, and tried to help them understand the relationship between the national and their chapters. That was always an interesting challenge.
What did you tell them?
What? Oh, you don't want to know?
Sure I do.
Oh dear. I'd be pretty honest about it. That it's difficult. The relationship is difficult to manage and to understand because of. I don't remember what things I did say. I always try to make sure they get paid their dues. But I acknowledge that there were difficulties in the relationship between the national and the local chapters. They didn't understand, and to be honest, sometimes I wasn't sure I understood what that relationship was supposed to be, because there was supposed to be one. I thought that they should support the national more. I helped them get the MRMCI to come visit, because that's one of our, I think that's one of the things we do well. I'm going to say one of the few things that we do well. I don't think that would be anything that anyone would disagree with either.
That's the multiracial, multicultural
institute. That's right. And they would always want to know, what are we getting for the money we're paying in? And I'm hoping, well, this is getting to another question, I'm hoping that we'll give them what they want, and then give them their money's worth in the future. I'm not sure we have in the past. Bringing the MRMCI in certainly did, although there was some conflict in their group as to what exactly they wanted in the workshop. It sounded like they wanted some sort of relationship workshop, and that wasn't in the cornucopia of classes that they were offering at the time, although now there's some discussion about that, to actually have that, and I think that would be important to do. They would probably need some more chapters. Right now it's more pedantic and more of a lecture and more, I guess, more objective social science. And I think what that chapter in particular was looking for was something that explored how our relationships with each other are affected by racism, as opposed to how society is affected by racism, how oppression takes place, and what's the social structure to facilitate racism, things like that. I think there's a relationship between those two. But they wanted to look inward rather than look outward at the structures in our society that are racist by nature. Anyway.
Well, let's go back a minute. When was your first involvement with a national organization, and how did that come about? Was it a convention?
I went
or
to a
what?
convention, and I was a delegate from the DC chapter. That's the first thing I did for them, that's right.
How did you decide to go to the convention?
I just wanted to go, and I wanted to see what it was that was going on there. I didn't have any particular sense of anything specific that would happen there. I'd just gotten involved with someone, in fact, who I'm still involved with now. And in fact, he's from Philly originally, so he came with me later. I went up early. And I went to the House of Delegates meeting. House of Delegates no longer exists, but I went to that meeting and I understood what Paul Cloutier was talking about. And immediately, someone decided I should be on the board. I don't remember who that was. Paul Cloutier was treasurer at the time.
Right.
Yes, and I used to be an accountant. So I got trapped.
The mere fact that you understood this could qualify you.
Yes, isn't that scary? And I was so flattered, and I just said, "Oh my goodness!" And I just got swept. This is the truth. I got swept up in all of that, and I wound up on the board. And in retrospect, I'm glad that happened, and I'm now glad I understand exactly how it happened. Man. But I don't think I thought through clearly what I was doing, and one thing I want, actually I told this to someone this week, if you recruit people to the board, make sure they know exactly what it's going to involve. I don't think you do that very well. And orient them. In fact, I think I was in charge of the office, which was something I really didn't want to be. But I was in charge of the office, and the first orientation we had in D.C., that Friday night, which might not have been such a good idea to have it, but we were time constricted and really didn't have much time to do it any other time during that weekend, I put together an orientation for people.
Now, this was during the convention, or was this at a board meeting?
This is at a board meeting the next fall.
At our then office in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. And actually, I'll leave
that was the fall of '99. Yeah.
I think so. Might have been the fall of 2000, but I'm not sure. Anyway, but it was done at the Washington office. It was one of those 2 years. I can look at how old the file is, and I do remember.
Well,
but,
before we get into what you did on the board and treasurer, other than being swept away at this convention, what were some of your first impressions? Was it a different experience than the local chapter?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how was it?
How
did it
different
hit you?
perspective.
How did it hit? Well, elaborate on that.
Well, the DC chapter, which was where my primary involvement had been previously, was social. And here I was getting hit with all this political stuff and sociological stuff, and I hadn't, to be honest, I hadn't really given it that much thought. I knew in kind of a generic sense that there were race problems in this country. I knew that. I mean, anyone that, well, I shouldn't say that there are people who die all the time. But my awareness was awakened as to the extent of it and the depth of it. And I'm trying to remember the town meeting that was at Philadelphia was really something, I thought. That was a really wonderful experience that really opened my eyes. And that was on racism in the gay community. And actually, after I started dating black men, my personal experience told me that there was an issue here too. And that I don't have any of those friends that I used to have anymore, as it turns out. Because I'm in a different social circle, and by virtue of my being involved with people of other race, that are African American. So that's my personal experience with that, as far as the sociological stuff. But that was the big difference. We didn't really, at the time I was involved in the chapter back then, really talk about it very much. There were rap groups periodically, but we always skirt around some of that stuff. And at the convention, you don't skirt around it. kind of in your face, and I think it needs to be. That's a big difference.
Are there events from you've attended all the conventions since then, right?
That's right. I've been on the board since then.
Do you have any specific memories of events of each convention that stand out? Do you want to go convention by convention, or is there certain things that really stand out that you remember?
99, I think that town hall meeting. San Francisco.
And the town hall meeting, just to go back, was a group of people from various...
People were from, we all were kind of mixed up into small groups to discuss certain questions.
And these were people from the outside game listening
Community in Philly, yeah. And there were I think there were people on the dais who were discussing these questions and from their own point of view as well. It was interesting to see someone from Philadelphia government up there. I thought that was so cool. And I had this feeling that we had maybe some clout or power as a result of having that guy up there. I don't remember who it was. I think it's their Human Relations Commission. But it was just really great that he was there. Let's see, that was fantastic. The first thing that's popping into my head was the barbecue over at, where was it? Oh, man.
Stephen Matchett.
Yeah, Stephen Matchett. There's another guy that lives there.
Sherlin.
Sherlin
Ayers.
Oh, he's a hoot. But anyway, that barbecue was a trip. We're going up and down the stairs, looking down at each other. Oh, man. It was a lot of fun. I don't remember a specific event during the convention that was
nothing.
That's the first thing that popped into my head.
Yeah, no, that's the thing that popped into your head.
Yeah, oh my gosh. 2001 New Orleans. Well, New Orleans. I'd never really been there. I remember bitching about, it's going to be so hot there, and it's going to be awful, and it was a wonderful place. The hotel was beautiful, but, Tim and Les always picked good places. I think it's something somewhere. I think my long-term memory's gone, but,
well, maybe your short term will kick in for 2000.
That's when I was elected to be treasurer. And I had some trepidation about it, actually. I wasn't sure I really wanted to do it, but I did it. I've been involved in financial stuff because our auditor was in D.C. So it made sense and I think Hall has just gotten tired, and I really needed to give it up for a while. So I took it. That's what happened there. Certainly I remember that. And just the nice feeling of New Orleans. It was really, really neat place. And now we can move on to the next one. This is an unusual historical event.
Yes.
It was written up in the very cautiously letter, I guess. Doug, I think you wrote that.
I did write it.
Yes, you did. And actually, the thing that would have been most memorable, I happened not to be at, which was the candidates forum.
And we're talking about last year, too.
Yeah, last year's convention. I had decided, one of the problems with me is that I'm not really detail oriented. Somehow I became an accountant for 10 years, and I'm not a detail person. Anyhow, once again I found that out in being treasurer. I don't enjoy the day-to-day nuts and bolts of accounting and bookkeeping. And so I was going to resign. In fact, I had said I want to resign as of October 1st, so I wanted to get it to the end.
And that was midway through your term.
That would have been midway through the term. Well, no one else really wanted to run except for one person And that one person was thought not to have the skill set or a lot of other things to be able to do the job. And at the candidates forum, all this stuff came out about this person. I'm not going to go into who it was. Shoot. The co-chair was term limited out. Homer Adams. Wanted to be treasurer, and there was a substantial number of people who did not think he could do it. And as a result, I was written in. And after people asked me they asked me if I would serve if I were written in, and I said I would, given the circumstances, because I honestly didn't think Homer could do the job either. And so I got written in. I think I got 2/3 of the vote. And so I stayed on, and now, this is for real, I am now resigning. This is official, it's in the camera now. And
You're not resigning, you're merely completing your term.
I'm completing my term, yes. I'm completing my term, and I'm going to take a break, and then figure out what it is I want to really do for the organization. I think there's something different that I need to do, but I need to be off the board for a while.
Well, you've already answered, obviously, part of this, but since you've been in the organization, and obviously since you've been in it, you've been on the board the entire time, what type of things have you been doing? What have you done?
The annual audit from the beginning. We chose an auditor. I helped in that process.
This was even before you were treasurer.
Yeah, this was long before I was treasurer. Yeah, the first thing I did was put out bids for auditor and brought them back to the board and elected, voted for someone. And ever since, I've been working with that person to complete the annual audit and the forms that the IRS require. One of the things I found in our working together with him, but trying to get everything put together, things weren't established quite the way they should have been. Things weren't centralized. We have an account that's held in Chicago, and the lovely woman that holds that account, she really is lovely. I've talked with her. She sounds like, I'd love to meet her. Mary Robertson. It's just very hard to get. She's in her 70s. I don't think she's in the best of health. So it's not always easy to get things that I need to have for the audit. Then, of course, there's our favorite John Q. Trust. Yes, the trust that never was. Well, it was a trust, it just wasn't our trust. And we're working that out now. Hopefully we'll work that out without anyone killing each other. But there's an issue around, that trust did not belong to us, and it was set up after the death of John Q. as if it did belong to us. The only thing that belongs to us are the 72% of the proceeds from the earnings. So, this has all been very educational and very interesting, of course. I'd worked previously in a nonprofit as a controller, and everything was right where I needed it. And in this organization, that is not the case. So, it was a source of frustration for me from time to time. And also my lack of attention to detail and my not knowing how long things were going to take got me behind the eight ball on getting things done. Getting things done on a timely basis. Not so untimely that we'd get in trouble, but not when they were supposed to be the 3 months and 15 days that they were supposed to be done. I always made sure things got done in time so we wouldn't get in trouble, but it was never right away. And I regret that. But those have been my main involvements. Those aren't small things.
So really, when you officially became treasurer, you were just...
I was doing part of that job already.
Yes.
Yeah, part of that job. I thought that was the most important part of the job. There's a lot of daily humdrum stuff. One of the things I find annoying about the way we do things is that we're decentralized and it takes a long time to get things signed. But that's the way the membership seems to want it. They don't want us running off with $7,000 or something like that. This is some of our illustrious past, but that was before my time. I think as far as the finances go, you need to do some more tightening up, but we're better than we were. And I guess a lot of this goes back to when we were a much larger organization and we had the National Task Force for AIDS Prevention. There's all kinds of stuff going on. I don't really know that much about that part of our history. It was way before I was involved. But I think I think we lost a lot when they left. And maybe now we can regain. You need internal controls. You need fundraising mechanisms and all that stuff. And hopefully we can get that back so we can grow ourselves in some new way.
Well, other than what you already accounted, do you have any other really memorable moments or memorable personalities in your 4 years there? People that have sort of stuck out in your mind. People or events.
Paul Sears. How many people have said that? Oh gosh. Oh, in Miami. Another thing that was really cute. Actually, this was fun. When we were on a bus tour of various places that were important in Black history. Yes, that's right. And Paul was along, and at the end of the thing, at the end of the bus tour, we took a collection for the tour guide. And Paul wanted to, I think either we elected Paul or Paul insisted that we give him the money that we collected to give to him. Well, at the end of the ride, he began to present this money. He got down on his knees in front of this guy, who was a gorgeous man, by the way, and just kind of looked like he was about ready to, well, anyway. He gave him the money. I think he gave him something else too, or wanted to. You had to be there. It was really, really funny. And
the driver was quite calm about the whole thing.
Yes. Well, he just took it. I think he took it as a compliment. But that's why Paul sticks out in my mind, among other reasons. There's a lot of people I know that I know from being here, and it's really been a privilege to know them. I think Paul Cloutier is really a brave man, and has really suffered a lot, but really is committed to this organization, and I hope he's able to continue it. And I'm so glad he's better than he was really ill, and now he's much better. I'm going to say that he's a lightning rod, but I really think that Paul Hawkins is extremely important to this organization. And I don't know how we can, I guess the word would be depoliticize or something like that, his involvement with the organization, because he has so much energy and he has so much to offer. I hope that we can find a way to do that, to keep him involved and kind of keep people from hating him so much. But I think that's something he has to work on too.